Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about tax return for international students in 2020. I started lodging my own tax return since last year, 2019. It was a little bit overwhelming in the start, but when I researched and answered my own questions, it was quite interesting. So I'm going to share with you the same 7 questions that I had last year. And I'm going to discuss with you the answers that I found. Now, the first question that we have is, what is tax return? Now, depending on how much you earn, your employer withholds a certain amount of money under your tax file number in your every pay, and that money is stored in ATO. All the calculations are stored there. So by the end of each financial year, in Australia, it is one financial year is between July to June. So by the end of every financial year, your tax is calculated, and the extra tax that you have paid to the government is returned to you. That's why it's called tax return. The deadline for this year's tax return is 2nd November 2020. Let's move to question number 2. Do I need to lodge tax return? It depends on 2 factors. You need to be living here for at least 6 months before you can file any tax return. Number 2 is your taxable income should be minimum of 18,200. If your taxable income is below that value, then you don't need to lodge a tax return. But you still need to file non-lodgement advice form to ATO. Continue with this video and I'll show you how to do that. Number 3 is, what is tax threshold? Now, the percentage of tax that you pay to the government depends on your income. In Australia, there are 5 categories of tax threshold, but the only top 3 are relevant to international students. The first one is the income between 0 to 18,200. This is a tax-free threshold, which means you don't pay any tax if you earn up to 18,200. The second one is between 18,200 to 37,000. Here you pay 19% for each dollar earned above 18,200, which means, for example, you earn 20,000. Okay, so out here you are not paying any tax for the first 18,200. You're only paying 19% tax for the rest of, how much is it? $1,800. Now, for the last category that's relevant to us is between income between $37,001 to $90,000. For this one, the tax that we pay is $3,752 plus 32.5% for each dollar earned above $37,000. Question number 4 is, how do I start? Now, for this, the first thing you need to do is create your MyGov account and link it with your ATO. For the first timers, there could be a little bit of problem. I have a helpline number here for you guys. Okay, I also have a video link in the description box below, and you can watch it. And it's very simple to link your MyGov with your ATO. Now, remember, I told you, even if you are not paying tax, you still need to do your non-lodgement advice form. You will need this MyGov link to ATO for this purpose. Okay. Now, it's very simple. You go to your ATO account, go into the tax option, drop down menu, and then go into the lodgement. This will guide you to the non-lodgement advice form. Okay. Now, another thing that you need to check here is your PG summary. It is either provided by your employer by the end of July, or you can even check it in your ATO account. For this, you need to go to the Manage Tax Returns option. This will show you whether your income statement is tax ready or not tax ready. Only use your income statement if it is tax ready. If you use a not tax ready income form, there could be problems and you might have to amend your tax return, which is again a lengthy process, and that will delay your tax return. Another question here, question number 5, is, what is income? Now, there are various sectors for all of us. Like when I was a student, I used to work sometimes 2 or 3 jobs. So my salary from those jobs were my source of income. For some of you, it could be, some online business that you're doing. For some of you, it could be a little bit of parlor work that you do at home, or some bakery stuff that you sell and you earn your income. A lot of students do Uber these days, Airtasker. So whatever income you are earning, even if it is in a cash, that is your income, and you need to lodge tax return for all of them. Now, in this section, in this question, I'd like to mention here that the money that your parents send you to pay your fees, if you're short, that's not your income. And if you have accessed your superannuation during this coronavirus crisis, then that doesn't come under your income as well. So you don't need to include that. But the rest of the things, if you're earning any money, everything is your income. Let's move on to the 6th question. What is deduction? This is my favorite part. Make sure you watch this video till the end, because I have a huge help, a great bonus coming up for you towards the end of this video. Deduction is basically the expenditure that you don't have to pay tax for. The first one is work-related expenses. Now there are so many things that come under this. Number 1 is your car expense or your travel expense. So if you're doing 2 or 3 jobs, and if you travel from one workplace to another using a scooter or your car, any vehicle, then that particular travel expense is covered and you can claim deduction for that. But if you're traveling from your home to your workplace and back to your home, that is not deductible. Number 2, if you work as a delivery person, or you work as a removalist, or any job that involves using your car or your vehicle for your job, then you can actually claim all the expenses in your tax deduction section. Second one is clothing and laundry. If you're buying a special dress for your workplace which has a logo of your workplace, and you've spent some money altering it or buying it, or there's any special apron that you have to buy, then you can claim deduction on that. You can even claim your dry cleaning or your washing expenses for those one. Maximum you can claim is up to $150 without any evidence. For example, last year I received my uniform from the hospitals for my job, but I had to make some alterations. So they charged me $52 for that, and I could actually claim that in my tax. Third one here is protective gears. For example, if you work in Woolies or any area wherein you have to be in close contact with your customers, then if you have bought sanitizers, face masks, gloves for these purposes, then all these things are tax deductible. If you work outside and if you have to kind of wear a special jacket or sunscreen, sunglasses for your job, specifically for your job purpose, then you can claim those things. Like in my profession, in nursing, I can claim for the nursing shoes that I buy, any other equipments that is required for my nursing practice, that I can claim in my tax deduction. You can also claim your registration renewals. For example, you are renewing your OCRA card this year, or your first aid, you are doing your first aid course this year, you are renewing your police check, all for the work purpose, then you can claim it. For example, in my case, I renewed my nursing registration that cost me $170, so I can claim that. I paid my union fees for ANMF. I pay $56.5 every month, so I can claim all of that in my tax deduction. If you are a disability or aged care worker, maybe you renewed your first aid course or CPR. If you work in hospitality, maybe you renewed your fire safety certificate. So all these things, because you've used these ones for your work purpose, these are deductible. You can also deduct the self-education cost. Now this could be, you are doing a specific course, or you are learning about your work thing in your laptop using your Wi-Fi, home Wi-Fi. Then you can claim a certain amount of that internet cost in your tax deduction. For example, if you're using your phone for your work purpose, then you can claim a portion of that as well. Now you have to be very careful about these claims. Because you need a record. If ATO asks you to produce one, you need an evidence to show them, okay, this is the record that I have kept, and this I work these many jobs, and I have to be in direct contact with my supervisors all the time. So all these records are required for all these types of deductions. Those people who are working from home during this coronavirus pandemic, for them the government has provided an easy solution as to how to calculate their work-related expenses. So if it is not huge, then you can use a flat rate of 80 cents per hour, but you need to have a record for that. But if your work-related expenses is a little bit higher, then you can use 52 cents for your utilities like electricity, internet charge and all that, and you can have your other section wherein you calculate all the cost related to your stationery or any other huge cost. Another point to note here is any donation or gifts you've given, if the value is more than $2, and if you have provided it to any tax deductible organization, then you can claim that in your tax deductions. If you had a tax consultant last year who helped you with lodging your tax, then you can claim that amount this year. Now let's talk about tax offset. There are 3 tax offsets provided by the government. The first one is zone offset. This tax offset is basically for those people living in regional or remote areas. I'll provide a link in the description box below for you to have a look who all qualify for this tax zone offset. There's also a calculator. You'll find it in the description box below, how to calculate your zone tax offset. I live in Darwin, so last year I was provided $338 as my zone tax offset. This year I have my daughter with me, so I'll be getting $421 as my tax offset. Another one here is low income tax offset. This is for the people who earn up to $66,667 each financial year. Most of the international students, I think we are eligible for this one. Now there are 2 criteria for this. The first one is if you earn up to $37,000 or less, you are allowed for the full $445 offset. The second one is if you earn between $37,000 to $66,667, then you are eligible for $445 minus 1.5% or above $37,000. So just follow this calculation here. Another category here is low and middle income tax offset. Now this value may range between $225 to $1,080. This is the category, as you can see on your screen. For people who are earning $37,000 or less than that, they get $255. For people who are earning between $37,000 to $48,000, they will get $255 plus 7.5% above $35,000 up to a maximum of $1,080. For people who earn between $48,001 to $90,000, they will get the full amount, which is $1,080. Now for the last 2 tax offset, low income and low and middle income tax offset, you don't have to do anything. ATO calculates all this amount by itself. It's only the zone tax offset that you have to do your own calculation with the calculator provided, and you have to put the value. The 7th question for today is, do I have to pay Medicare levy? no, you don't have to pay a medical levy, because even though you are Australian tax resident for tax purposes, you are not like an actual Australian resident, so you don't get the Medicare facility here, so you're not paying for that. So in this section, if you have lived whole of 365 days here, then you can just select the full exemption option. But if you have lived like 6 months here, then just select the half exemption, or count the number of days that you have lived here, and you can just put that value. In this section, another thing to note is you have to include details of your private health insurance, which company and how much premium you pay. By the way, have you checked my video on 10 things I wish I knew about private health insurance? I have discussed a lot of things and my personal experience in this video, so make sure you check this one. Lastly, I have a simple flowchart for you to just have a look at what we discussed today. Tax return is not difficult. It is very easy and very interesting. But if you have any doubts, like sometimes you know how you want to do it, but you have this one little question, I wish I could ask someone without having to pay for it. Alright, if you're thinking anything like that, I have the help available for you. I have a friend in Adelaide. His name is Mr. David Gurung. He's a tax consultant, and he has volunteered to help my viewers and myself to get the answers of any tax questions we have. So he is gonna literally answer all your tax questions if you're planning to lodge your tax yourself. But in case you are still confused and you have lots of income sources, and you're not sure about certain thing and you want someone to help you with your tax return this year, David is there for you. If you wish to lodge your tax return with David, he's just gonna charge $55 for any student in Australia. Disclaimer, this is not a paid promotion. This is just a favor that I asked David so that my viewers can benefit from this. Thank you, David, for helping our community. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Tax return has always been very special time of the year for me. Because when I was in uni, it used to help me with my tuition fees, and after I finished my uni, it helped me to buy my first car. So tell me in the comment section what your plans are for this tax return, and if you like this video, make sure you like, comment and share with your friends. Subscribe to my channel for any video updates, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, take care, and all the best for your tax return.